At Jared, we know devotion isn't a once-a-year occasion, and once the flowers have wilted and the chocolates have disappeared, you'll still want them to know how much you care. Dare to give a gift that lasts this Valentine's Day with our incredible selection of jewelry. From delicate rose gold to bold black diamonds, Jared has hundreds of pieces under $299 and exclusive collections you won't find anywhere else. Shop online or find a store near you at jared.com and dare to be devoted.
Episode 1375. This is No BS Job Search Advice Radio. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome. We're on the back end of the week, episode 1375. And today's show answers a question from someone that I know will be a little controversial. Some people will disagree with me, and that's quite all right. And the question, of course, is, do HR people share applications with one another? Hope you find this helpful and give it a great review in Apple Podcasts and now Spotify. We now have the show in Spotify, so subscribe there, listen to the show there. It helps other people discover No BS Job Search Advice Radio, the #1 show in Apple Podcasts, and we want to make this the #1 job search podcast in Spotify as well. And with that, let's get going. The question I received is a wonderful question. Do HR professionals cross-reference the applications they receive with other job openings that they have? Now, the person who's writing is a technology professional. And then they continue by saying, since these positions might have skills in common, does HR cross-reference applicants with the openings to see if someone who applied for a role would also be a fit for some other role? It's a great question, and I want to give you the most blunt, direct answer because I'm a no BS kind of guy. And the answer is, it depends. Now, I know what they should do, but here's the practicality to it. Each HR person is being graded on their performance against certain metrics that the firm has defined for them. So their job is to fill positions, not refer to someone else who fills positions. So it depends on how the system is set up. It depends on which job and which person you applied to for this. So I always go back to my first point about contacting a firm, and that is never, ever apply for a job through an applicant tracking system, because that just puts you into the dreaded black hole. That is, your resume is dependent upon whether the data dictionary, whether the definition of terms set up in the applicant tracking system and your resume match up. Assuming that they do, and you actually get to a human being, the next thing is, will that person actually think of a colleague or focus on their own job first? Answer is they're going to focus on their own job, qualify you for that, and then maybe refer you to that other person in their HR organization for consideration, because they get no points for it. The other person does. So they go sequentially rather than, concurrently. After all, they don't want to have 2 or 3 managers competing over one person. That that makes it harder for the firm. So it's a sequential scenario that occurs to start off with. From there, it's always going to be hit or miss depending upon your performance at the first interview. So let's assume you do well on the first interview. You get to the hiring manager, or let's say you get to a technical person and then to a hiring manager. I'm using the example of the technologist here because that's who wrote. So you make it through the technical interview and they assess you for where your strengths really are. Maybe you get to the hiring manager and then you're turned down. From there, they go back to your strengths as perceived on the technical interview, and maybe you get referred for the other job, or maybe you don't because your technical skills really were strong in that first area and not the second or third, or not as good a fit for the second or third. Or maybe you washed out on the first interview and they don't know whether to bring you back for the second or third because you stank up the joint the first time. So there's way too many variables to count on HR forwarding you for another position. Those variables start off with, number one, whether your resume actually makes it through. Number two, they're going to qualify you for one job at a time rather than multiples. Number three is, how's your performance on the interview? Number four, the mood of the HR person as to whether or not they make the referral. Now, some people are going to disagree with me. Oh, I would definitely refer. That's not my experience. I have heard stories from HR people where they're not going to make the referral because it's not in their interest. So way too many variables, I wouldn't count on. So that's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, here are a few ways to get even more from me. First of all, visit my website, www.thebiggamehunter.us. I have several thousand blog posts there that you can watch, listen to, or read to help you find your next job. If you want the best of my advice, join JobSearchCoachingHQ.com, where I've curated my information with a focus on interviewing. If you have a few questions, contact me through the Magnify app for iOS. That's Magnify with an I at the end, or PrestoExperts.com, where you can call me. Schedule a specific time with me through chat on Magnify or by connecting with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/The Big Game Hunter. Once we're connected on LinkedIn, you can message me about coaching you, speaking with me about a resume or LinkedIn profile critique, help with a salary negotiation, my trusted advisor services, as well as scheduling me for Magnify or for PrestoExperts.com. Like you, I don't work for free. You can also take my classes on Skillshare and become a premium member using the link in the show notes and receive 2 months for free instead of just the one that the site offers. Skillshare offers thousands of courses, not just simply mine. It is a great resource in a variety of different areas. Subscribe to my other podcast, which is called Job Search Radio. This one is number 1 in Apple Podcasts. Job Search Radio is number 2. Subscribe to both. You will get great information 7 days a week from this show, 6 days a week from the other. Lastly, I want to encourage you to join my group on Facebook called Career Angles. It's free to the first 500 people who join and is focused on helping you do better at work. Information is shared daily, and we're building a supportive group there to provide advice and counsel during difficult times. Again, the group on Facebook is called Career Angles. I'll be back tomorrow with more. In the meantime, have a great day. Be great!
Why is it that when someone asks you to just trust them, you just don't? Because trust is tricky. You can't just say it. You have to back it up. AAA Auto Insurance has been doing that for over 100 years. As quickly as a car accident happens, AAA starts to set things right, matching you with the right experts who make your claim their priority until you're back behind the wheel. Talk to a AAA insurance agent at your local AAA store today or visit AAA.com/insurance to learn more about AAA.
At Jared, we know devotion isn't a once-a-year occasion, and once the flowers have wilted and the chocolates have disappeared, you'll still want them to know how much you care. Dare to give a gift that lasts this Valentine's Day with our incredible selection of jewelry. From delicate rose gold to bold black diamonds, Jared has hundreds of pieces under $299 and exclusive collections you won't find anywhere else. Shop online or find a store near you at jared.com and dare to be devoted.